Hey everyone! A while back I made a video titled The Scariest Roller Coaster at Every Six Flags, and that video did surprisingly well. So I thought I'd make another one of these videos, but with the Cedar Fair chain. Cedar Fair currently has 11 theme parks, and please note that I have not been to every single one of these parks, so a lot of my opinions are educated guesses based on what I've seen and heard about the ride. Just like the Six Flags video, I'm going to start west and work my way east. So here's the scariest coaster at every Cedar Fair Park. Let's start over in sunny California with a park that probably won't be around much longer, and that's California's Great America. Many of the coasters here are relatively small, with the two B&Ms not going any higher than 100 feet and the two Woodies 108 feet. However, this park does have an extremely intense RMC with Railblazer. This small raptor clone has some of the best pacing in the world. It is small, but the train flies through the elements at what feels like an illegal speed, so Railblazer wins. Next up, Knott's Berry Farm. It was pretty easy to narrow this one down to just two coasters, Accelerator and Hang Time. Both of these coasters each have unique elements that make them scary, but based on my personal opinions, Accelerator is going to win this one. Waiting for the launch is one of the most nerve-wracking things ever on a coaster. And on top of that, there's also a massive 200-foot-tall top hat that the trains fly over. The third park on the list takes us to Kansas City, Missouri with Worlds of Fun. And for starters, let's just say that this park is lacking in the scary coaster department. Yes, Mamba is a massive hypercoaster, but it looks like a supersized family coaster, which is why Patriot takes the cake for the scariest in the park. Not only is it the most intense there, but it actually goes upside down. Something that only one other coaster in the park does, but nobody likes boomerangs, so I chose Patriot. Moving north to Minnesota, there's Valley Fair, and just like Worlds of Fun, they also have a massive Morgan hypercoaster. So I'm obviously not picking Wild Thing, which leads me to choose Steel Venom. There isn't much to this short Intamin impulse coaster, but two tall spikes and a very abrupt holding brake. It is a repetitive layout, but riding in the front or back row is no doubt freaky whilst flying up those spikes. Now let's go over to arguably the worst park in the entire chain, Michigan's Adventure. I'd say there are three major coasters here, with Corkscrew, Thunderhawk, and Shivering Timbers. Corkscrew isn't very tall, so I'm eliminating it, which leads me to the Vekoma SLC and the massive CCI. And I'm choosing Thunderhawk. Though it is smaller than Shivering Timbers, Thunderhawk has inversions which give it a lead to its competition. Thunderhawk is also rough as poop, so that's another scary thing. The first of two Ohio parks is next, and that's Cedar Point. And unlike the other parks on this list, there isn't a clear winner here. Millennium Force is huge, and Steel Vengeance has deadly airtime, but I'm choosing the new 2024 Top Thrill 2. Not only is it the second tallest coaster in the world, but when this opens, it'll have a 400-foot spike. Imagine traveling backward and flying straight up 300 feet while staring at the ground. Yeah, terrifying. The other Ohio park is up next, and that's Kings Island. And with this one, I don't really have to explain myself. Orion is the scariest. The 300-foot drop alone beats any coaster in this park, and as a bonus, Orion reaches speeds of up to 91 miles per hour. Now, I could see someone thinking Banshee is the scariest because of the inversions, but me personally, 300-foot heights do not beat flipping upside down. Let's move on to the only Cedar Fair park located outside of the USA, and that's Canada's Wonderland. Just like Kings Island, this park also has a B&M Giga Coaster, which I won't crown as the winner because the world's tallest dive coaster is also in this park. Yukon Striker may be 60 feet shorter than Leviathan, but it's got a 245-foot drop and a 187-foot Immelman. Yukon Striker also holds you over the 245-foot drop, hence the dive coaster name. It was a tough choice, but overall I think Yukon Striker is a bit scarier than Leviathan. Moving on to Dorney Park, located in Allentown, Pennsylvania, and like Worlds of Fun and Valley Fair, this park also has a Morgan Hyper coaster. Since I have beef with those types of rides, that leaves us with a couple of coasters. If you consider Demon Drop as a credit, then that would most definitely be the scariest in the park, but since I don't, I'm picking the new 2024 Iron Menace. Though this ride hasn't opened yet, I'm still picking it because it's going to open soon, and yeah, it's built already. Just like Yukon Striker, Iron Menace will also hold you over the drop, which is enough for it to win. Now onto my home park, King's Dominion in Doswell, Virginia. This was an extremely hard pick, but just slightly intimidate cough cough. Project 305 wins. You can see this coaster from miles away, and there's a reason there's no other ride like it in the world. And if you want to hear more of my thoughts, then check out my review for it. Now for the final park of the list, Carowinds. The obvious answer to this is Fury 325. This is B&M's largest coaster yet, with a max drop of 320 feet and a top speed of 95 miles per hour. The layout stays close to the ground so you can feel all of that speed, and there are also many airtime hills that fling you out of your seat. Fury 325 is a coaster on the top of my bucket list, and I can't wait to get on it someday. So, those were my opinions on the scariest roller coasters at every Cedar Fair Park. If you agree or disagreed with some of my opinions, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. If you liked this video, then I'd appreciate it if you considered subscribing. Thanks for watching to the end, and have a good day.